WELSTech is a bi-weekly podcast exploring the intersections of technology and ministry. It is part of the podcast network sponsored by WELS, the Wisconsin Evangelical Lutheran Synod. Our show today is hosted by Martin Spriggs and Sally Draper. Welcome back to WELSTech, everybody. This is episode 681. We're recording on Thursday, May 19th, 2022. Show about technology and ministry. My name is Martin Spriggs, and joining me as usual from Mankato, Minnesota, Sally Draper. Hello, Sally.
Hi, Martin. Good afternoon. Happy to be joining you. Beautiful day here in Mankato, Minnesota. And joining us as semi-usual is our friend Jason Schmidt, who's up in, I'm not sure where, somewhere Wisconsin.
I keep moving.
He's at Tomahawk, right?
I'm in Tomahawk today.
Good job, Martin.
Sometimes I'm in Green Bay, sometimes in Tomahawk. You never know where I'm going to land next.
That's right.
That's right. Many years that we've welcomed Jason to the show as a semi-regular classroom technology correspondent. Jason, remind people what you do up there in Tomahawk, Wisconsin.
Yeah. So most recently, I became the executive director for the Wisconsin Virtual School. So we're a supplemental online program for K-12 in the state of Wisconsin, but also beyond. So think Amazing Grace Virtual Academy, but for public schools.
Cool.
Okay, very good. You can see then the clock behind both the heads of Sally and Jason that it's 2:36, 2:37-ish. And Sally's won't move, but I think Jason's will. So
mine will. Is it distracting, Martin? Should I take that down?
No, that's a good,
okay.
Good reminder so we can watch the clock because we sometimes drone on. So Jason, I have to ask you before, you're heading toward the end of the school year. When is that for you guys?
That's a loaded question, quiz. Martin, because we're adding students all the time. So we'll take enrollments all the way up through June 30th.
Okay.
And then we'll cut it off for 6 weeks, then we pick it up again in mid-August.
Aha. Okay. So your summer is probably is pretty crazy then.
Well, June's not going to be too bad, but then we hit the ground running again in July. So yeah, the June and July are kind of the calmer kinds of months. From what I'm told, I don't know. I've only been here since July 1, so I'm not even a full year in. But that's what I hear, that things will settle down a little bit in June to catch our breath, and then let's get ready for next year.
Very good.
Kind of like it's kind of like in what is that? Is that Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer, the claymation one, where they're like, "Yay, we finished Christmas! All right, time to get on to the next one." Oh, Elf, that's what it is. Time to get ready for the next year. So that's what it's. That's what we do.
Never ends.
There's less candy here.
We are going to be welcoming Dr. Cindy Whaley a little bit later in the show. She's going to be joining us hopefully at the top of the hour and talk about a presentation that she is preparing for this summer's education conference. So we're going to proceed with what we'll maybe call the back of the book, the tail end of the show. And maybe we should talk about ministry resources, Sally.
Well, I'm excited to do that. And it actually has a Martin Luther College tie this time. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk a little bit about an event, a free event, favorite price tag, happening at MLC this summer. Dates are here on the page. Tuesday, June 14th and Wednesday, June 15th, MLC will be hosting an open learning conference. It's an online virtual conference, and there'll be recordings of the sessions as well, and it's completely free. And I think this year's emphasis is ministering in an age of diversity. So there'll be a lot of different sectionals related to diversity. They have details of each of those listed here with the speaker information and that kind of thing. The first day features Carrie Muente. There you go. And also Ben Clemens, and this last guy's name is Peter Baggins, all professors at MLC, and lots of interesting diversity related topics there. And then the second day, the shift to the actual cultural diversity area of MLC with Professor Aaron Robinson and Megan Kosaki, who's the Director of Cultural Engagement, and finishing up with Professor Ting Ting Schwartz. So lots of great diversity topics being covered at Open Learning at MLC. So if you check out the website, we'll have a link in the show notes, but it's mlc-wells.edu/open learning. You can get registered online. And again, it's completely free. I think they're giving clock hours for it and everything. So definitely check that out. I guess I should say at this point, we're actually missing our fourth component of our normal school technology podcast, and that's Professor Rachel Feld. Rachel couldn't join us today because she's actually on tour with the MLC Wind Symphony as they're making their way, I think, through Michigan on their end of year tour that they're doing. And she's helping out with that. And we miss you, Rachel, but she actually gave us this. So this was kind of almost her pick of the week in absentia. So there you have it.
Neat. It is really cool. One thing that's come out of the pandemic, that we have a lot more of these virtual conferences. And because the cost can be a lot lower, or in this case, free, I think it's more available to more people. And we figured out how to record them and make them available. And that's an awesome thing, that we can make this great content available, and we're figuring out how to deliver it at a very low cost, or no cost in this case. So.
Definitely. Good stuff. Win-win.
Absolutely. Let's move on to our picks of the week. And we normally start with our guests. Jason, what's your pick of the week?
All right, so my pick is Monday.com. This is a project management platform similar to like if you use Trello, or like in our organization, we use Smartsheet. And you know, this is one of those tools that is made to help you with doing some of those project management tasks. So, you know, if you're used to that Kanban workflow, it can be those cards, it can be outlines, lots of different ways that you can do something like this. But what was kind of interesting to me, and why I'm sharing it, is because like Trello, there's a free version of it that you can just use. So if you're a small team, like 1 or 2 people, or just a one-man show, this is a good free option for something to do some of those task management things. It also allows you to do things like collaborate and have tasks, and communications back and forth. You can also use it as a customer relationship management CRM platform. So, there's just so many different ways that you can configure this and use these different tools. So it was something that, I thought was worth sharing, not necessarily something that we'll end up using in our organization. But, this is definitely a viable option, especially if I was looking for something personally that I didn't want to have to pay for. So Monday.com tool to help you with some of that project management piece.
I see this advertised all the time, and I've never actually dove in. It looks very broad in what it can do. So if you've got some broad needs, and I would think maybe in an organization, maybe not a small school, but maybe an Avery Lutheran High School or something that has a faculty plus a school office plus maintenance and those kinds of things. It seems like it's got some possibilities there.
Right. Yeah. And I was thinking too, like if you have like outreach committee or elder committee or something too. Like sure. That, managing some of those communications. I know that we've got that kind of in Church 360 in a lot of ways, but something like if you're using Salesforce, that might be another thing too, that if that's just another alternative to something like that.
Right. Okay, cool. Sally, you're up.
I'm up, and I'm going to point people to my friends at Avery, Avery.com. And specifically under templates, there's an option to get to Avery Design and Print, which is a way to do layout and duplicate it a bunch of times. That's how I use it. Don't tell the people at Avery. I don't always have the labels to print things on, but they offer a lot of versatility in their templates. It does require you to create an account, which is free. And then once you do, you can pick from all their different types of labels as a layout starting point. When you pick a particular type of label and select it, then you get options for different designs that they have out there. And it can be, business oriented, holidays. So often I'll come out and print my own address labels for my Christmas card, and I'll use one of their holiday layouts or whatever. But many times I just start with a blank design. And then once I have that blank design, this is where the power gets really exciting. And again, this could be, 4 labels per sheet or something. It could be large or small, depending on which layout you choose. But if you notice over here on the left-hand column where the different options are, you can have all kinds of text formats and fonts, colors and things. You can bring in your own images into the layout, and then you can actually bring in an Excel sheet with, maybe it's addresses that you're doing and you want to print address labels. So you can import that information and it'll do the layout. And then over on the right, there's a little driver where you're editing all of the different labels, or you can pick a particular label and do unique editing on a particular label. There are options after you're done with your design for printing it all or part of the list. So if you only wanted to print, half a page of labels or something to that effect, then you could do that. And you can also obviously print to PDF and save it and use it in other ways. So I've just found it to be a really versatile tool. And like I said, I've used it for label making, but I've also used it just to do layout and repeat it multiple times on the page, which can be really helpful when you have a particular project you're trying to do. So again, it's over at Avery.com. It's under the templates category, Avery Design and Print. That is my pick of the week.
Excellent. Do you use this for your bullet journal then too?
I haven't, but that's a really good idea. Maybe I should think about that. So again,
I know you print stuff out, with your little photo camera, photo printer, and then you stick it in there. So
if I have an HP Sprocket that I use to print imagery and stuff to put in my journal. But definitely could use this for that kind of thing as well.
Awesome. So. All right. My pick of the week is actually a hardware item. It is a router, an Asus Zen Wi-Fi AX model. Not a very catchy name, but we recently purchased a new home, and we actually aren't moved in yet, but I wanted to get the Wi-Fi set up, so I decided to invest in a new router and Wi-Fi system. And after doing some research, this one came to the kind of drifted to the top of the list. And for a couple of reasons. For one, it uses Wi-Fi 6, which is the newer Wi-Fi technology. So it goes a little bit further. It's a little bit faster. And this unit actually has 3 bands. They call it a tri-band router. So there's a 2.4 and 2.5 gigahertz bands. And one of those 5 gigahertz bands is used to communicate with the satellite unit. So you get in the packet, you get 2 units, the base station, and then the satellite unit, and you put them on each end of your house. These things are actually a lot stronger than what I was using, which I was actually pretty happy with. I was using the Netgear Orbi units, and they were a mesh system as well, just like this one. But this has a lot better range, and so far I've been super, super happy with it. A single unit, and you can use it in a single or in a pair, is supposed to cover 2,750 square feet, which would certainly be most of our homes. But with the pair, you can go up to 5,500 square feet. So it's a little bit overkill for the house that I purchased, but that's okay. One of the benefits then is you get outdoor coverage.
I was going to ask. You got a swimming pool?
I do not have a swimming pool, but we have a patio. So it gets service out there. And so that's good too. So more and more people are wanting to do that. And I would think there's application here. Now, I wouldn't say that this is enterprise grade. This is really made for residential. But I would think for small churches, and even maybe other buildings, that would be associated with some of our mission churches, especially. This might not be a bad place to start. It can certainly handle enough units or enough connections. It has VPN available. It has quality of service, all kind of the other stuff, parental controls, built-in security suite, which not all of them do. A lot of them have kind of a partnership with like McAfee or something like that, but this actually has it built in, and it's actually pretty good. So it has kind of all those bells and whistles, and it really has a nice, strong signal. Very, very stable, I found so far. So it's only been in place for 2 or 3 weeks here, but I would say it's got enough history with me to say it's actually a good product. They don't look super crazy. There are no antennas on them, so you can sit them, on a bookshelf or whatever. It actually looks like a little book. They come in black or white. So if you like one of those two colors, you're in good shape. But they've got ports on the back, so you've got the ability to plug in the hardwire or connect the two if you want for even stronger signal, although I haven't actually needed that. And you can plug a printer in, whatever, those kinds of things, a hard drive, et cetera, put that on your Wi-Fi network. But that's the ASUS Zen Wi-Fi AX.
Do you have an idea of price, Martin?
I don't have it there, and I don't remember what I paid. It is not inexpensive. It's going to be more than what you're just going to pull off the shelf. Some of those crazy looking ones in Best Buy. I want to say $4 something, $4 or $5, something like that. So you should be able to find it on Amazon. But for me, it's this alleviates the need to kind of run wires. I've been real happy with the Wi-Fi. I normally never do this podcast, on Wi-Fi, and I tell everybody else don't do that. Although Jason does not listen, but I'm doing it today, and so far so good.
Boy, that was the big jinx. Okay, inquiring minds want to know: did you get black or white?
We got white because we're doing kind of white, grayish. My wife calls it, walls, painting the woodwork white, etc. So white's the color.
Great choice. All right. Well, we'll be interested in an update if things continue to go well, or
I will.
If something changes.
Absolutely. Very good. Let's move on to community news and feedback.
And just a couple of things I wanted to mention. I got an email today from my friends at Google for Education. They have Applied Digital Skills, which is a great hub of teaching and learning resources around just enhancing your digital citizenship type skill set. And they've actually put some things together that you could use and prompt students with over summer break, even some fun little things that keep you connected and learning about digital assets and working with them. So they have 6 different lessons. Stay connected with Google Sites, create a digital postcard, create a photo journal in Google Docs, create a vision board, create a scrapbook, create a flyer for a Juneteenth celebration. So they always put together really well thought out lessons and have a lot of video support for them. I did a little bit of a look at the digital postcard, which they kind of describe for you as students creating a digital postcard about a place they visited, their hometown, or another topic of choice. The lesson extensions in this lesson offer students the option to email or print and regular mail their postcard. And so when you start the lesson, there's videos that start right away, and students can, access it. The transcripts are available. There's all kinds of ways that you can incorporate this into your Google Classroom if you want to, or whatever. So nice resources that Google's put together for teachers and students over summer break. And we'll have a link to that in the show notes. And then I also had a reminder that call day and graduation at Wisconsin Lutheran Seminary are coming up next week. We talked about this a lot last time we recorded a podcast, Martin, as we had some seniors from Wisconsin Lutheran Seminary on the podcast with us. And the big day is just 7 days from today. We're recording 1 week away. I'll be there in attendance and would love to say hi to anyone else that's a WELSTecher that's there, as we have a son graduating this next week, this season. So events are Wednesday night vicar assignment, 7 p.m., Thursday morning graduate assignment at 10 a.m. Then there's a graduation concert Thursday evening at 7 p.m. and the graduation service itself is Friday at 10 a.m. And all those things will be live streamed. And so tune in for Wisconsin Lutheran Seminary's graduation events.
So who's more excited, mom or son?
Oh, son, for sure. And mom's pretty excited, but yeah,
he's got a whole new level. Okay.
It's a big thing for Stanley and his lovely wife, Stephanie. So very, very happy for them.
It's a long journey.
It is.
You've got 4 years of college and then 4 more post grad, and seems like you'll never get there, and ultimately one day you do. And then the next step and chapter, and it's usually a big step or big chapter in your life. You're sometimes going to someplace you've never heard of before. So
yeah.
You're poring over the call list, the months before, seeing what are the available slots.
I do believe there's been some countdown and some tracking of that amongst those young men. So I know they're all excited. So,
Sally, if somebody wanted to contribute to the show, how might they do that?
That's a great question. And I just stopped sharing my screen. I'm back at screen sharing. Hang on 1 second and I will show people the WELSTech website at welstech.wels.net. That's where you're going to find this episode and the 680 previous episodes posted. And up along the top, you'll find links to us on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, and all kinds of other ways to connect with us through your favorite podcast player or through the WELSTech wiki. You can send us a voicemail. It's all there at welstech.wels.net. And very soon it's going to have show 681 added to the mix.
And I think we have Dr. Cindy with us now.
Hi, Dr. Whaley. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Sally and Jason and Martin. It is truly an honor and a privilege to join you. And if I can just echo congratulations to Stephanie and to Stanley.
Thank you.
The joy of teaching them and to be on campus with them and now to see where the Lord is leading. Congratulations.
Oh, that's very kind.
To them. Yeah.
Us too.
Very kind. So Dr. Whaley, for maybe 1 or 2 people who are listening that don't know her already, but I think most people do, she serves the Synod at Martin Luther College, and she has graciously agreed to join us. And it's a busy, busy time of year for everyone, I know, but coming off the high of Martin Luther College graduation last weekend and all the post-graduation work that's involved. Cindy's joining us today specifically to talk about this summer's education conference coming up already, starting on June 20th. Very excited to serve with Cindy on the planning committee for that conference, and also to know that Cindy is one of the presenters there. And so we wanted to talk a little bit about your presentation you're preparing, Cindy, but maybe before we do that, if you could just give our listeners a little bit of background on yourself, what your responsibilities are and that kind of thing.
Oh my, well, okay, thank you. I have the privilege of teaching at Martin Luther College. I'm in the education division, so I hold a few hats just like all of you that I'm looking at as far as the privileges that we have that the Lord has given us. So I teach in the education division, as I said. My courses are curriculum instruction and then teaching reading. And then I work with the juniors who are in their clinical experiences. I work with the seniors in their public school student teachings. I have an opportunity to place them there. I'm a licensure officer, so I have which is when you were talking about Sally busyness, now we're getting them all set to get their licenses to get ready to go. And Ed TPA coordinator and just a few other wonderful things that all connects to licensure. So really excited about all of that. Thank you for letting me share that.
Yeah, thank you so much for your work. the topic that you're speaking on this summer has to do with multi-age teaching and learning, and your subtitle, what it is, how it's different, and why it matters. Maybe introduce our listeners a little bit to what people can expect in that session.
Thank you so much. And again, the privilege of working with Sally on the conference and then being able to be a part of the planning committee, we just have not only, I'm thankful that I get an opportunity to present. We have so many outstanding presenters. My particular topic is one that is really something that I've said in the WELS all along and else in our schools. It's really a gold mine that sometimes we don't stop and maybe take enough time to think about. When we think of multi-age teaching, whether you're in a single grade classroom or multi-grade classroom, if we're really trying to meet the needs of all of our learners, we're making sure that we understand that we don't just teach grade 4, we don't just teach grade 2 or 9th grade, but we realize all the learners and who we're bringing into that class and having that background knowledge. But then also the gold mine of not apologizing for schools where we have multiple grades in a classroom, but really saying how that even takes the multi-age to the next step of how we're blessed to teach them, meaning how can we help them along the way in the matter of developmentally appropriate practices. I always tell my students, please forgive me for the lack of grammar here, but I love to say this to them, God don't make no junk. And so when we talk about this, the fact of, I love to talk about this in the presentation of the uniqueness of how our good Lord has created all of us and how that multi-age, multi-grade topic can even enhance that educational process for each and every one of them, because we want every child to succeed and realize that God has given them very special gifts.
Very good. Well, with our technology-oriented podcast, we were particularly interested in picking your brain a little about maybe what some of the research is showing and that kind of thing around classroom setup and use of technology in that multi-age setting.
As you know, and for our listeners, our students do spend a particular amount of time, really it's basically 6 weeks, that in their public school experience, they oftentimes are exposed to, and I'm not saying that this isn't happening in our Lutheran schools, it's just because of who I work with at the time. They work with some of the technological pieces that help them with management. So for example, if you've ever heard of the term dojo, that's a management system that can be used so that immediately points can be given. And I'm not trying to just say that that's the one system. I'm trying to make a technology connection here that some of our public schools use because it already gives feedback to parents and caregivers of the type of day that their child has had. Jason, I'm not sure if you've also, I know you've probably heard of that too as one example.
Yeah.
Oh, please, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I have heard of Class Dojo, yes.
And another really important piece is how we use technology. A lot of our Lutheran schools and our public schools too are using different resources to enhance students. So for example, in mathematics, they may be having a particular mathematics piece that they can send their students to enhance their learning in mathematics, maybe even after the lesson is over. And that enhancement might be to help a child who is struggling a little bit and needs some more help in a particular topic, could be someone who needs a little bit more challenge. So the technology piece is very rich, and in the multi-age setting, that really helps to meet the needs of learners. Also, we use technology when it comes to, you've probably heard the term learning centers or learning stations. And being able to have a setting where, or multiple settings where they also can use technology to enhance their learning. A requirement that we have at MLC is we try hard to make sure that when our students are planning, for example, themes that they teach, that it's a natural integration of technology, not how can we force technology into assignments, assessments that our students might be doing, but how we actually can partner that and make that a natural flow, because that is just so critically important. So we should be able to be using this technology piece at whatever grade level, of course, balancing that we need to have all types of learning happening, but it's really, technology is obviously a wonderful tool. And sometimes people think it's hard to plan for that, but really it's not that hard. We just have to take time to see how we can naturally integrate that into every child's day.
Cindy, where does multi-age teaching and learning kind of find its way into the MLC curriculum? And maybe a follow-up question, how about those that are out in the field now and they want to get smarter and progress in these concepts? Where do they go other than the conference? Of course, are there other resources and things that they can grab a hold of to get going on this?
Yeah, thank you, Martin. What I'm really privileged is that the uniqueness of how we are the community that we are. Oftentimes we have veteran teachers that are actually emailing us in the summertime, and they will ask for additional resources. It's also part of our summer school when certain areas of our wherever are asking for summer school courses where we can bring this information to them also. On our campus, this starts right from the beginning as they begin their year one, but especially we teach this in most of our methods courses where we can connect the academics and the dispositions and put that all together. So our students are learning that, and I would say targeted, we're working on that, especially junior, senior, and fifth year, but it isn't that we're not starting it earlier, even with their EFE, their early field experience as a freshman, when they're teaching real students.
Sure. Jason, I interrupted you. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay, Martin. Cindy, what you're talking about, from the technology, like that purposeful integration of technology. That's, I'm glad to hear that. That's one of those things that we definitely have been pushing for a really long time. And the analogy that I use when I'm talking about technology, whether people are using it in a classroom or whatever it is, I always look at it has an amplification factor, right? So, if they're doing something and it's good classroom practice, technology is one of those things that can make that classroom practice and enhance it even further if it's done well. But if it's not done well, or if it's a bad classroom practice, when you take some of those things, it kind of has the opposite of the intended effect, right? So, so that being intentional and really thinking about, what are the processes and procedures that go around with this, or, how does this impact classroom management? How does this impact student engagement? Like all of those other different pieces that go along with it. It's good to have those discussions and have that training as a part of the way that the lessons are presented. So I'm glad to hear that that's what's going on.
And our teaching, thank you. And our teaching with technology course, really enhances that now. And that course has been definitely added to make it even stronger with the qualified people that we have on campus that are teaching it. But then also they're saying, so now it'll connect with this course and it'll connect with that course. And so, like you said, we're being more intentional because we want everybody to feel comfortable. You don't want someone saying, oh, I'm no good at technology or let somebody else do that. We want everybody to feel comfortable, and we want all of our students to feel comfortable too.
Well, Cindy, I'm sure you've excited many to be a part of your presentation at the education conference. I'm definitely looking forward to it myself. We're going to be meeting together June 20th through 22nd at Ingleside Hotel in Pewaukee. And the conference registration is still open, folks. So we saved the best for last. We've been talking about it all year long. And now we have Cindy Whaley to put the icing on the cake. You really need to be there. Registration ends June 1st. So head over to WELSEdconference.com if you aren't yet registered. We'd love to see you there. Thank you so much, Cindy, for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you. And I just love to say our students deserve us to do that. And whether they're able to come to this conference or, as Martin was saying, how can they find resources, whatever, this is all about, summer is all about how can we continue to help our students, because that's who the Lord has blessed us to teach and to work with. So how can we continue that professional development for them? So thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you, Cindy. Blessings on your conference and on your summer too.
Definitely.
And to all of you, thank you again.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right.
That was great to have Cindy on. Like you mentioned, Sally, she's kind of the, could be one of the star attractions. I'm sure there are other excellent presentations being planned, and getting close.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be a great time. Jason has a non-busy month ahead. I'm sure he's going to be focused on getting his presentation just right, because he'll be there too.
No, I'm gonna. Yep.
Yes.
I
Bringing his A game.
I don't present until June 21st. Like I got almost a month. This is fine. If it weren't for deadlines, I'd never get anything done. It'll be great.
I can promise you.
Play our recording from our podcast. So.
True. The sun will be shining in that presentation room for sure.
Right.
All over the place.
Good stuff.
Yes, they got to wear shades.
All right. Thank you, Jason, so much for joining us as usual. We missed the happy banter between you and Rachel, but we'll bring that back next school season, so everybody has something to look forward to. If you guys are both willing to join us again. So
I don't know. You might have to chase me away, Martin. At this point, right. I feel like I'm just a member of the team at this point. Like
he feels very entitled, apparently.
Well, yeah, I might be a little offended actually if you don't.
That's right. So we can't get rid of him now.
I'm just going to throw that on the carpet right now. Like it's coming.
All right. Well, Sally and I are going to be back in a couple of weeks, and we're beginning a summer series. It's summertime here on WELSTech, and we always kind of pick a central theme. And I'm actually developing a course for graduate studies at MLC called Enhancing Ministry with Technology. So I'm going to kind of build that course as we go through our summer WELSTech series. So I'm looking forward to getting a start on that. And who knows where that will go, but it'll be good stuff. It basically is a topic that is all about this show, so that should be pretty easy, right? So join us for that. Again, Jason, thank you for joining us. Sally, thanks for all you do, and everybody, we really appreciate you being here with your ears and your eyes. Bring a friend next time, and if you are so inclined, give us a 5-star rating on your podcast player. Leave a good review, because that puts us up a little bit higher. Maybe more people can see what we do and can talk about technology and ministry and sharing of that gospel. So thanks everybody for joining us. We'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.